Hello everyone, Switch Double here. This is my very first channel update for this whole new year of 2021. First of all, I will have to say I really hope that this year will be much better back in 2020 due to the fact that COVID-19 took place. I mean, I even hope that early this year the virus will be defeated. I mean, after all this past year, this virus took place and happened. I know that many people are trying to move on from it, and I hope that the virus will be defeated by early this year. Even though some are expert expecting that this virus will last for another 1 or maybe 2 more years, which I seriously hope it is wrong. I mean, after a whole year of being coping from being in a lockdown or in quarantine like some Italy or United States had for the last few months, and if I had to do that for another 2 more years, I don't think people were gonna handle it. But anyways, let's focus on the updates. First, I mean, I really hope that this virus will be defeated. I do. And for the updates. For the first update, for the past few days, I have been thinking about even debating to myself and with my girlfriend what about my channel's future. And you have no worries, the channel will remain as it has for the past 5 years and even for the past 10 years. But the mainly been focus was actually on the true love stories. And they will remain as they has been, except for one sorry about that, from the change. From now on, I will only focus on My Little Pony stories that of my own choice. And that even means that some of the non-My Little Pony stories that like Pokemon or Digimon will be my final decision to decide if I will make some of the stories. Despite I have a few Pokemon stories in my email had been planning to be done, so consider from that. I mean, I wanted to be doing this though. And for Travis, I know that this might be a little bit some disappointment to you, but I get to promise. I do promise this to you though, because some of the stories that you had asked me for the past few days of my some of the basement games and some of those were Power Rangers, they will be done as I do promise you that. Even though I had to do some more research or reading some more about the characters since it has been years since I saw the very first season of Power Rangers. I had even watched the show or seasons for like I said, for years. It, despite I saw the movie that came out for only a few years ago, but even though I had to read up some of the books, some of the characters, but I do promise these stories will be done as I promised you from now on. But I'm sadly to know telling you this that from now on my stories will be only being My Little Pony stories. But if you have My Little Pony stories that you want me to do, I'm glad to do them as audio stories. That is no problem. And that is basically I am really grateful to do. I know that many others had also been wondering what will the next story to be up. Well, that I can't tell for now for sure. Since I'm going to focus on some of the stories that Travis had asked me to do, which I have no problem to do, not at all. But I do can tell that there will be a special story on um, this Thursday of the January the 21st. Is going to be Daring Do with Rainbow Dash. And that story was actually asked by Ava Jones a while back early this year for her birthday, which has been complete and just wait to be uploaded. I know that many have been wondering what other stories that I had in mind. Well, that is one of the things that since I had many, and I say many stories to be done. And also, for this year, I will try to focus not only on My Little Pony love stories, true friend stories, as I usually do, but I will try to focus on some of the stories like Tempest Time Warp, another story that I had made last year, and even to finish Discord Secret Dollar Chapter 8. And after that, be uploading every single chapter. And I even have thought about maybe post all the chapters as one video. Well, that is one tiny problem with that. Not a problem at all much. It would not be much a problem to upload it, but there would be a small tiny thing. If I would publish all the stories as all chapters as one video, the length of the video itself would be maybe as around 3 or maybe close to 4 hours long, which I probably won't even do. I mean, there's I have considered do that in the past, but it won't happen though. But the chapters will be uploaded on my channel as soon as possible. I'm done with the last chapter. Well, despite that, it may have lost the script for on the paper on it, but I still have the memory of the earlier start of that chapter. So I hope this story might be done sometimes, maybe early this spring or early summer, hopefully before even summer, which is even though is a few months away from that. Nevertheless, there are, like I said, there are plenty of stories to be done, and others to be waiting to be done. And but yeah, that is probably I would say. And once again, all the stories that we going to be focused on from now on, for as long as I can remember, is to be actually only My Little Pony, True Friend, and True Love stories. I do have actually some of them in mind to be doing, since I have been put some stories that I were currently working on and on hold for the time being, since I came up with some other stories to be done and worked on them, but they will be done as soon as possible. Despite having more free time now, since even though that I work for only a few hours per day, nevertheless, I know that many are still wondering if I will do some perhaps even non-Malponic true love stories or true friend. Well, that, like I said earlier in this video, it will be my own choice being decided from that. But if anyone has any, like, I don't know, any Pokemon or Digimon stories that I want me to done, I would put that in consideration. But here is one thing. If you ask me to do a Brock with Nurse Joy or Officer Jenny from Pokemon, that will not be possible. Well, consider from how many Officer Jenny and how many Nurse Joy there are in each the different regions. And if you ask me to do a Nurse Joy with Brock, then I would ask, okay, which Nurse Joy? Consider from how many there are in the entire from generation 1 up to generation 8. Consider how many are. And since each city has its own this own Nurse Joy and even this own Officer Jenny. And even if you focus on one region, let's say like a Kanto or Aloha. So I have to admit that is probably will be a Pokemon story that never will be able to happen. Despite many had shipped Brock with a lot of with many of the Nurse Joys or Officer Jenny. But consider from that, it will not happen. But like I said, that from now on, it will only be focused on My Little Pony stories like those I have done in the past. But you may still have to look out for any remakes that might pop up from time to time on my channel, due to the fact that my old stories may have to be remade, which is no problem for me to do so. But anyways, I am just grateful that all the support I had for the past 5 years on my love stories and true friend stories, and once again, I am grateful. And for Travis, your stories will be done as I promised. And you were asked your story that your mom had asked me to do. Well, I can tell you that story is in fact done. It is complete. It just hasn't even been uploaded yet, but it will. I have done at least 4 or maybe 5 total stories so far, and I hope to be able to do some of the other love stories that you had asked me sometimes, maybe tomorrow or maybe on Wednesday, depending for of course from which how much time I have to work on them and if I have to help around at home or something like that. But I do promise they will be done. And you had even asked me to do some My Little Pony Love Stories pack last year, which I hadn't even worked on. They will also be done, and especially the one with Fluttershy Twilight, Equestria Girls version, which I had in mind to be doing. And I can also say on this, it was thanks to my girlfriend who had made up the perfect script part of the story, which is grateful. And I'm really grateful to have her as my helper in this projects I need if I need help with something like that. But Travis, your stories will be done. I promise you that. I give you my highest promise to do that. And I do really mean I'm sorry if I have decided to be only focused on My Little Pony love stories from now on. But if you still has any My Little Pony love stories or true friend stories you want me to do, I'd be still be grateful to do them for you. No problem with that. It's not nothing that you had been asking me your stories for past few years now, or maybe 2 years or so. Um, I mean, I lost track. I mean, you had asked me so many stories, and I literally had lost track all of them. And if you had noticed if some of my story or your requests on some of my videos had just disappeared, well, the fact is that might be some glitch on YouTube, which has happened in the past for me before. So, but your stories that you had recently asked me to do with some of the games like Halo, like that, and even some Sakurai, and even from Power Rangers, they will be done. I have saved the pictures for the story that will be being used. But I have to admit, the part of the story I would have to want to find a picture for Kimberly and Trini, well, I say it was a bit difficult to find good ones to find, but I did. Even though it takes some time. But I do admit it was a very interesting idea since I hadn't even seen the Power Rangers show for years. But I do still remember when I saw the game that shows when I was back as a kid. But I do promise those stories and those preview ones you had asked me will be done and be posted within perhaps this week or maybe this weekend. I can't say for certainty at which point when they will be uploaded. But I do know that you wonder, but I give you my highest promise. They will be done. I give you that. I just want to inform you that since I now on will only being focused on true love stories or hello true love stories from Monopoly. But if you have any other stories, maybe as from Digimon or some of the first characters, that wouldn't be as a problem. I mean, I have done a few in the past, so that would probably would even be any problem to do so in from the future. After all, I saw the first season and even some of the others when I was growing up, so I still remember a lot of those shows. Anyways, as for everyone else though, I really hope that you all had a great time and despite the COVID 19 had been affecting all of us. I mean, I know that many are scared worried, and even tired of all this pandemic has been happening to us. And I do admit you're not the only one. I am so tired of this pandemic. If I could just snap my finger and say, oh, the pandemic will be over, the virus will be defeated, and everyone is now immune to this virus and it will never happen again. If I could, I would have done it by now. But as all we can do is try to keep patient. And I do recommend to anyone else, when this virus vaccine is available to everyone else in your particular, from each your different separate countries, do take it. Never been considered not to be doing so. I would highly recommend to take the vaccine, despite saying, some say that some might have died from it, but I really recommend that everyone would consider it, take this vaccine as a way to be preventing it from spreading once again if it happens. But once again, everyone, this is my first channel update since this whole new year, and like I said in the earlier this video, I really hope that this year will be much better. And from one perspective, I really hope that the virus will be gone, or at least some of the lockdowns in particularly the US will be lifted. Is that I really hope to be able to see my girlfriend this year. She was originally planned to be here last year, but when the COVID-19 took place, she understood, and I also understood that some of the travels in particular to US or from US to Sweden were quite limited, depending from which state you are and like that. But still, I do hope, though, at least that all of this stupid, crazy pandemic of 2020 to 2021 will be gone. At least from that. But I do say though, the stories that I had been planned, and since I'll now only be focused on true love stories of My Little Pony and even True Friends, and might even do some non-My Little Pony stories in the future. But anyway else though, that is all I want to say in this channel update, and I do hope that everyone else has a great time and staying safe despite what has been taking place for the past year. And once again, everyone, thank you for listening, and once again, this is Switch W, over and out.